And finally, new rule. Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher takes direct aim at the American misunderstanding of karma, using his recent clash with Whoopi Goldberg as a clear example of how the term has been distorted. After Goldberg criticized Maher on The View, she was later suspended from the program, prompting many to celebrate the moment as karma, a form of cosmic justice for her remarks. Maher quickly rejects this interpretation, arguing that what many Americans call karma is little more than a comforting illusion. Rather than reflecting a deeper spiritual principle, it often becomes a way for people to justify grudges and take satisfaction in others' misfortune. In modern usage, he suggests, karma has been reduced to a petty, vengeful scoreboard where every setback is framed as divine punishment. He maintains that life is largely shaped by randomness, and that attributing every ironic twist to karma is both intellectually lazy and indicative of a more vindictive cultural mindset. Instead of treating karma as a path toward self-awareness and ethical growth, people have turned it into a justification for schadenfreude, the pleasure derived from another's suffering. By challenging the idea of Goldberg's so-called karmic punishment, Maher urges the public to reconsider their tendency to find moral justice in every downfall and instead adopt a more rational, detached perspective on life's inevitable ups and downs.
This karma stuff on the show last week because I was relating how many texts and emails I got from people congratulating me on receiving a karmagram from the universe in the form of Whoopi Goldberg's chastisement. So I thought this would be a good time for a little tutorial on karma, which, as Americans understand it, is nothing more than an extension of the common logical fallacy called post hoc ergo propter hoc, which means after that, because of that. It's the fallacy that happens when someone assumes that if one thing follows another, then the first thing must have caused the second thing. Like, I wore green socks every day last year and I never got into a car accident. Green socks must prevent car accidents.
Let's break it down. When most Americans hear the word karma, they tend to imagine a kind of cosmic payback system, a moral scoreboard where good deeds earn rewards and bad actions bring punishment. It's the instant karma idea that shows up all over social media. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and moments later they get pulled over. Case closed, right? Not quite. Bill Maher argues that this popular version of karma isn't really karma at all, but more like a repackaged form of Western moral thinking, almost like Catholic guilt dressed up in New Age language. In many Western traditions, there's a familiar belief that good behavior is rewarded and bad behavior is punished, whether in this life or the next. But karma, in its original Sanskrit sense, simply means action. It's not about divine punishment or some spiritual vending machine where you insert kindness and receive good fortune in return. Instead, it points to the long-term effects of your choices, how your actions shape your character and influence your experiences over time. It's less about instant justice and more about gradual consequence. This is where the misunderstanding deepens. By turning karma into a tool for explaining ironic misfortune, people reduce a complex philosophical idea into a kind of revenge fantasy. It becomes a way to feel satisfied when something bad happens to someone they dislike, rather than an invitation to reflect on their own behavior. Maher's critique, then, isn't just about language, it's about mindset. He's pushing back against the tendency to use karma as justification for bitterness, arguing instead for a more thoughtful, less vindictive way of understanding both actions and consequences.
And Whoopi Goldberg getting suspended by The View isn't karma, and I wouldn't want it if it was. People have to learn to disagree in this country and not hate for it. As I mentioned last week, how could a nation like America have maintained an apartheid state for the vast majority of its history and expect the views of the races to match on all matters? It's amazing they match on any. Whoopi Goldberg shouldn't have to conform to or apologize for her views on race, as much as I disagree with them. And she certainly shouldn't have to sit out like a child and think about what she did. The View suspending someone for sharing a view is like firing Pat Sajak for selling a vowel. We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech, not the lazy, cowardly response of canceling people. This is a big country with lots of people who don't think like you. We all only need to agree on free speech itself. That's my religious belief. That's the timeless principle I live by. I don't like what Whoopi said about race. She didn't like what I said about what? The real essence of karma, by the way, is non-attachment, letting shit go. It's very zen. Oh, and by the way, no one knows what that means either.
First up, Bill Maher challenges the idea that every bad thing that happens to someone is karma. People like to believe that everyone gets what they deserve, but reality doesn't follow that script. Sometimes things just happen, no cosmic justice, no moral scoreboard. A corrupt billionaire might thrive without consequences, while honest, hard-working people face real hardships. Maher's point is that we often invent meaning in random events simply to make ourselves feel better. If someone we dislike experiences a downfall, we label it karma, when in truth it may just be life's unpredictability at work. He also argues that people have turned karma into a weapon. Instead of using it for self-reflection, it becomes a way to justify personal grudges. A celebrity loses their job after acting rudely, and the immediate reaction is to call it karma, but that's often just a convenient narrative, not a deeper truth. This ties directly into his broader critique of cancel culture. Maher believes that instead of responding to ideas we disagree with through discussion, many people now try to silence or erase those voices altogether. In his view, society has grown less tolerant of mistakes. One bad joke or unpopular opinion can lead to public backlash and exclusion, leaving little room for growth or learning. He points to Whoopi Goldberg's suspension from The View as an example. While acknowledging that she said something controversial, he questions whether temporary removal is a fair or productive response. For Maher, free speech only works if people are allowed to speak, even when their views are flawed or unpopular. The alternative, he argues, is a culture that replaces debate with punishment. Ultimately, his argument is straightforward. Life isn't governed by karma as a system of instant justice, and trying to cancel people instead of engaging with their ideas reflects a kind of intellectual shortcut. The real question is whether society is better served by shutting voices down, or by